We are the United States of America, a federal republic and the world leader in the fight against climate change and global warming. We are led by a government of the people, for the people. We have come here today, the world's largest economy and its second largest emitter, to say that the United States recognises our role in creating this problem. We embrace our responsibility to help solve it. In 2016, climate change is no longer a far-off problem. It is happening now. Climate change is already disrupting the world's agriculture and ecosystems, water and food supplies, our energy, infrastructure, human health and human safety. Climate change is the trend that affects all trends. Climate change impacts everything and effects become more pronounced in each passing year.
To speak from national experience, the Arctic is a leading edge of climate change and is the leading indicator of what the entire planet faces. Arctic temperatures are rising about twice as fast as the global average. Our state, Alaska, is an Arctic state. Over the past 60 years, it has warmed twice as fast as the rest of the United States. Last year was Alaska's warmest year on record, just as it was for the rest of the world. And the impacts here are very real. Alaska's fire season is now over a month longer than it was in 1950. At one point this summer, more than 300 wildfires were burning at once. Southeast of here, in our Pacific Northwest, even the rainforests were on fire. More than 5 million acres in Alaska have already been scorched by the fire this year. If you add the fires across Canada and Siberia, we're talking 300 million acres, an area about the size of New York. Thawing permafrost destabilizes the earth, threatening homes, damaging transportation and energy infrastructure, which could cost billions of dollars to fix. Warmer, more acidic waters and the migration of the entire species threatens the livelihoods of local economies dependent on fishing and tourism. Reduced sea levels leave villages unprotected from floods and storm surges. Some are in imminent danger. Some will have to relocate entirely. Alaska has one of the swiftest shoreline erosion rates in the world. Since 1979, the summer sea ice in the Arctic has decreased by more than 40%, a decrease that is dramatically accelerated over the past 2 decades. One new study estimates that Alaska's glaciers alone lose 75 billion tons of ice each year. The pace of melting is only getting faster. It's now twice what it was between 1950 and 2000. Twice as fast as it was just a little over a decade ago. And it's one of the reasons why the sea levels rise so far over the last century and why they are projected to rise another 1 to 4 feet in this century. To make matters worse, many of the fires burning today are burning through the permafrost in the Arctic, a massive store of carbon. When the permafrost is no longer permanent, these gases are released into our atmosphere over time, and that could mean that the Arctic may become a new source of emissions that further accelerates climate change.
If we do nothing, temperatures are projected to rise 6 to 12 degrees by the end of the century, triggering more melting, more fires, more thawing of the permafrost, a negative feedback loop, a cycle, warming leading to more warming that we do not want to be a part of. And the fact is, climate is changing faster than our efforts to address it. We're not acting fast enough. This is a project, however, that we can solve. Even if we cannot reverse the damages that we've already caused, we have the means, the scientific and technological innovations to avoid irreversible harm. Last year, for the first time in our history, the global economy grew and the global climate emissions stayed flat. So we're making progress, just not fast enough.
In the United States, we're doing our part. Under the Obama administration, through initiatives such as the Climate Action Plan, we've made ambitious investments in clean energy and reductions in carbon emissions. We're saving consumers billions of dollars since 2008 along the way. We've also moved to help communities build climate-resilient infrastructures to prepare for the impacts of climate change that we can no longer prevent. We're leading the world in the development of hybrid wind energy systems, expanding solar and biomass resources. Skeptics have argued for over a decade that these actions would kill jobs, but the reality is we've seen the longest streak of private sector job creation in our history. States are encouraged to provide further job opportunities in sustainable resources for viable and continuous economic growth. We've driven our economic output to an all-time high, while driving our carbon pollution down to its lowest level in nearly 2 decades. Last year, President Obama announced the first set of nationwide standards to end the limitless dumping of carbon pollution from the US power plants. Now we're on track to reduce our carbon emissions 17% below 2005 levels by 2020. And then in 2014, Obama set a new target. America will reduce our emissions 26 to 28% below 2005 levels by 2025. And with our historic agreement with China in 2014, we showed it was possible to bridge the old divides between developed and developing nations that had stymied global progress for so long. The accomplishment encouraged many other nations across the globe to their own significant climate targets. That was the foundation for success in Paris.
The basis for our actions can be found in the reports produced by US research institutions, which shape policies, inform public opinion, and advance the pursuit of science, critical in the climate change discourse. These institutions include the National Research Council, who endorsed findings of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in 2001 as representing the views of the scientific community. In 2013, they provided a report that gave an updated look at the issue of abrupt climate change and its potential impacts, including those that affect the physical climate system, natural systems, or human systems, often affecting multiple interconnected areas of concern. The World Research Institute stresses the importance of simultaneously laying the foundation for longer-term goals, while the media focus may rest on existing authority and their decisions and commitments. This has become the go-to place for numbers on potential emission reductions. The World Research Institute has large US-based offices as a part of the global network. At the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, researchers provide unbiased information that informs public policy and decision-making, as well as expanding public awareness about the importance of the ocean and its resources. This is an entirely US-based institution with US labs and offices collecting data for international organizations. NASA, too, conducts a program of breakthrough research on climate science, enhancing the ability of the international scientific community to advance globally integrated Earth system science using space-based research. NASA scientists regularly appear in the mainstream press as climate experts. Similarly, the US National Academy of Sciences plays a representative role for US administration while also providing international and independent research. Further, we would like to address our contribution to scientific effort is not only in producing and analysing data from some of the largest research institutions in the world, based here, such as the NRC and offices of the WRI, as previously mentioned, but also the contribution that the US makes to the development of renewable technologies and the development of new and more effective strategies to combat this challenge facing us. Without these contributions, we would not have the numbers and information to assist in making effective decisions on target goals. The US administration receives reports from global and US-based scientific institutions that provide non-partisan, evidence-based, rigorous and peer-reviewed research and give recommendations of practical solutions based on their analysis of US federal and state capabilities and have been shown to be significant in their effect on policy formation.
In the words of President Obama in a 2015 speech, if we were to abandon our course of action, if we stop trying to build a clean energy economy and reduce carbon pollution, if we do nothing to keep the glaciers from melting, oceans from rising faster, and forests from burning faster, and storms from going stronger, we will condemn our children to a planet beyond their capacity to repair. Submerged countries, abandoned cities, fields no longer growing, Indigenous peoples who can't carry out traditions that stretch back millennia, entire industries of people who can't practice their livelihoods, desperate refugees seeking the sanctuary of nations not their own, political disruptions that could trigger multiple conflicts around the globe.
This is not a future our children deserve.
This is not a future of freedom or of human rights.
On this issue of all issues, there is such a thing as being too late.
That moment is almost upon us. That's why we must all act today.